Hello. I was gonna talk about how I got into prostitution. God, this is tough. I don't even know, I don't even know if it's even a good idea to put this video out, but I think that maybe it'll help somebody, or maybe, it could help dissuade or, help some young girls that are maybe just getting into that stuff, to tell them what happens or what it's like, or okay, so I'm gonna kind of tell the story of how it all went down, and oh shit. Alright, so when I was in high school, or I was really struggling in school, and I didn't really know what my options were as far as what kind of future I had, or and then I came up in a significantly dysfunctional home situation, and anyway, so I get out there, after I barely graduate high school, and I started working at just some, entry-level jobs, and I had a lot of difficulty, with the boredom, and I didn't, and because I think that I deal with a lot of emotional dysregulation and possibly a borderline, or I might have borderline personality disorder. I don't, it's possible. But anyway, I've never been properly evaluated by anybody, and anyway, so I found myself, sucking at regular jobs. When I was young, I was oh my God, I can barely handle this. What am I gonna do? And around, it was I was 19 or 8. I just graduated high school, and a girlfriend of mine actually told me about, she was gonna try dancing, in the strip club, and I was huh. I was wow, that sounds like something I might like, I was I should, I wonder how I can get into that, I know, right? It's terrible, but just, so anyway, so she ended up getting pregnant pretty much right out of high school, and she never went into it, but I had met someone that knew someone that, worked at the strip club, or in our local strip club and whatever. So then I got, I asked them, I'm well, do you think I could do you think I look good enough to do it? And do you think, I had all these questions, and of course I was right. I pretty much, tried it, I was okay, can't, I was I guess I was excited by the idea of the dancing and the music, and I was and then there was gonna be men, I mean, it's not I can't say that it's I feared men, because I did have a really shitty early history, there was sexual abuse, and my dad was not in my life, so I had a lot of daddy issues and all that. And, like, I didn't get, I felt like I was pretty much not, like, I didn't have either parents, like my mom we didn't get along, and I don't think that she really liked me, I mean, yeah, she probably loved me to a point because I was her kid, but as far as, like, she wasn't able to really, we didn't really have, like, a good relationship. That's all I'm gonna say. So anyway, so I start doing that. I started in the strip club, and it, and gradually I kind of liked it. I did alright in there. I was like, well, this is fun, this ain't too bad, I can kind of, I can be kind of creative, I can, there's like, it was not boring, and I was like, well, shoot, like, I can do this, and of course, I loved the physical aspect, the movement, the dancing aspect. Like, I just loved it, like, I was very, I was always pretty physical, or like very, physically active, and like, I liked dancing and all that stuff, so it felt like a good fit. But then, after a while, after being in it for a while, like, I started to see that, that I started to experience the negatives, that come along with it. It was not a good route, to be on, and, but I stayed in it because I got, like, I just couldn't really imagine another job being satisfying at that time, and because I struggled, I noticed, that I was struggling with relationships with guys, and I was like, well, so I thought immediately, like, marriage and kids, or marriage, was probably out of the question for me, like, very early, because I just didn't, I didn't feel like I understood men. I didn't know how to navigate relationships or none of that stuff, So anyway, like, next thing I knew, like, it was better money than I could be making at some other job, and I'd be bored, and so that's how I kind of got trapped into it, is that it was at least enough money to, like, have a little bit of disposable income, but and I could afford a place to live, and and all that stuff, and that was really powerful for me, because I came from, a really poor, we were really poor, and, my mom was a single mother, and like, I think I was just really, that really impacted me, like, just feeling like we never had enough, and so I think that made me even more, like, afraid of, like, or like being, like, I was more ashamed of being really poor than working in a strip club. I know, right? Like, and it wasn't like I was even making, like, I was doing better than I would at most, entry-level jobs and stuff, but I wasn't, like, by no means raking it in or anything. Like, I wasn't making hundreds and hundreds of dollars every night, but I did, I did better than, I don't know, it was it was relatively easy for what, and somewhat enjoyable, until, like, I started to, like, notice that, like, my relationships were suffering, like, really, well, like, and that was part of it. The strip club was part of why my personal relationships were, especially with the opposite sex, So, anyway, I ended up staying in the strip club for years. Like, I kind of got to the point, I got really demoralized, and I got discouraged about everything. And the more I was pretty promiscuous too, and the more I, like, failed, or I saw that I was not really, like, able to conform to the norm, the more kind of discouraged I got about everything. I don't know. But I did try to seek help, like, in my 20s, like, I knew that my life was not going in a good direction, but maybe I just didn't go to the right places, to find help, or I couldn't afford help, or I didn't have health insurance, to get the, like, therapy that I needed, and whatever, to maybe, like, figure out what to do and solve my problems and get a proper evaluation. And anyway, so once I hit about age 34, I, like, really started to really want out of the strip club scene, like, I was like, oh my god, this is so, like, I'm so over this. Like, there was just, like, I knew it wasn't giving me I wasn't excited by it anymore. I mean, I still love the dancing aspect of it, and the show, putting on the show and all that. I loved that part, but I hated the work environment, and, like, I outgrew that environment and stuff. And also, not, a lot of strip clubs, the management is, like, not very good. That's what you'll run into, is that you'll get treated, I don't know, it depends on the club. You might get treated really well in some clubs and really, really bad in other clubs, And so, anyway, so around 34, like, I just quit the strip club, and I was like, and I tried webcamming, and that turned out to be, like, even harder. I mean, I found it even more difficult than the strip club, because, you really have to, well, first of all, you gotta be extremely good looking, like, pretty damn good looking to be a webcam, to do well at webcam. Plus, you gotta be able to, like, have a lot of mental energy, and, because you're taught you have to really kind of engage people, and I'm kind of an introvert, more so than an extrovert, so I found it, I was like, I was bored, I guess, and then I wasn't, like, and people are asking me to do, like, shit that I didn't want to do, that I just was like, wow, and, like, so many people could be watching me, and I don't even know who's watching me, and I'm like, it just, that was really an uncomfortable situation. I ended up not lasting in it and quitting, So then, you know, I'd actually had met a friend that was doing like sexual favors, you know, through the internet, and that gave me the idea, you know, that like, well, you know, I know, right? That's messed up, but like, she did that through, like, she was going to be a nurse, and she was doing that like on the side to like pay her bills and stuff. So then I was like, well, I guess, you know, like maybe I could do that for now, for a little while, you know, until I figure out something else, you know, and whatever. So it turned out that it was real difficult at first, especially at first, because you don't know what the hell, you know, you don't know what the hell you're doing. I don't know, there's a lot more to it than you think, you know, or there's, you know, you have to like figure out how to deal with like different situations that come up, because you don't know what you're walking into. You don't know. I mean, you have to be able to figure out if someone's dangerous or not, you know. There's just a lot more to it, you know, that goes into it, you know, to protect yourself, basically. But yeah, I never, like, back when I was a dancer, I mean, I looked down on women, you know, like, that went to the route that I went into, and now I can't look down on them, you know, anymore, like, because, you know, I ended up in that same situation, and like, I don't know, God, I don't even know, like, this is like difficult to talk about, kind of, you know, and I don't even, but I wanted to make this video because before it's like too late, you know, and like, I don't know, I really, you know, I'm still stuck in it, like, I'm not out of it, you know, and I don't really know, you know, I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. Like, obviously, if it was like a simple fix, like, I would just get out, you know, I would just quit. I don't think any woman really, okay, there might be some rare women that go into that stuff that really love it, and that really, like, went into it, like, because of economic necessity, you know, but I would say that I went into it because of economic reasons, not because, you know, and I just kind of like, it was kind of like a way to just, I don't know, not, I don't know. It was just like a way to deal, you know, to deal with like life, or to somehow like have some control over my life, I guess, you know. I don't know. But anyway, I guess that's it for this video. Thanks for listening.